Manchester United's young guns are all revved up and firing, ready to come back to Premier League duty. We've got one more international game to go, of course, but it is looking good for Manchester United at the moment. Joshua Zirkzee joining a list of Manchester United players which have starred this week for their international teams. It has been the best international week preparation-wise for Manchester United, I feel, that we've had in a very, very, very long time. We're going to round everything up after the Netherlands game was last night. How boring are England? But we don't really care as United fans. Maguire was okay. Mainu starred again in a win against the Republic of Ireland. Everything is going really well, especially for the young players of Manchester United. Obi Martin on the score sheet as well. Again, that will be ratified and done this week. We've talked a lot about him this week. We talked a lot about the options that United are going to have going into this next phase of games. Now we'll look ahead to that and we'll try and break down where United can actually I'll cover some ground, let's just say that. It is all positive around Manchester United at the moment. So everyone is looking ahead and basically just looking at what Manchester United can do now with what they've got. Can we implement what's happening on international break into our team at Manchester United, and hopefully we actually get something out of this next group of games. Like, the more that this international break goes on, the more confident I feel like, you know what, these players that are actually in at Manchester United, the better opportunity we've actually got. There is so much going on internationals, obviously, and we're all scared about injuries and everything like that, but it's just good to talk about things that are actually working well. Joshua Zirkzee, most of all, last night starred. I'm going to talk about what Koeman said before the game, what he said after the game, what happened with Matthijs de Ligt. A little bit of a meltdown, but obviously we'll try and focus on the positives when it comes to international duty, because they are a drain, they are a real drain, but still, I think importantly, people getting game time, people performing well for their countries, getting minutes more is the biggest thing for Manchester United. I'll talk on a few more things that were said in the mixed zone as well yesterday at Old Trafford. Obviously, we was there for the Legends game. You've seen the video of him licking butts, and obviously Raymond van der Houwen running on. So we've got one more coming out at lunchtime today as well from the mixed zone. A bit of something different in that. But yeah, welcome along, everybody. I hope you're doing fantastically well. There is absolutely no reports going on in terms of anything negative with United. It is fantastic. It's brilliant. It's actually nice to look through the morning papers, look through the morning headlines on a weekend and see that there's nothing seriously going wrong with United. We needed it after the weekend that was Liverpool at home. But yes, I think everybody's just taking a breath. Everybody's just getting themselves settled. I think now that the weekend is pretty much nearly done, obviously, after today, I think we're all just looking ahead and going, right, okay, come on. Please put this together now and make something happen. Please give this video a like and make sure you've also subscribed as well, more importantly, like many of you have done, on the road to 60k. I nearly said 50k then. We're actually smashing it at the moment, guys. So please do subscribe to the channel. Please do hit that bell notification button as well. Like the video. Let's get as many likes as we possibly can. Share the video as well, everybody. And get in the live debate and bringing up your comments as well. From anything that's happened over the weekend, any of the videos you want to get in, I want to go interactive this morning. Something a little bit different on a Sunday morning, seeing as though the window is officially shut. The Rabiot news we can shut down. United are not selling anybody else. United are not buying anybody else. We said this yesterday. The Antony news is garbage. The Rabiot one is never going to happen if it would have happened already. There are still people reporting it and talking about it. It's not going to go down. It's not there. Just let him go, please. Someone just buy Rabiot so we can stop talking about him. I'll stop getting these fake headlines coming up all the time that United might actually be interested in Adrian Rabiot. It's not. It ain't happening. And neither is Antony. So let's move on. Let's move past it. Let's look at the positives. Joshua Zirkzee, only the first player since 1978 to score an assist on his debut. One of 4 players that have done that. Starred last night. Assist. Chances created. 4 shots. A goal. Obviously, on his debut, we have to praise Joshua Zirkzee. It was a impressive display. Ronald Koeman, before the game, was actually saying about Joshua Zirkzee, look, he is great at holding the ball up, but I want to see more from him tonight. I want to see him actually get in the box. I don't like Ronald Koeman, but I love the words that he was saying, and we've seen that. Joshua Zirkzee actually playing as a proper number 9 in the middle of a front three, and a pretty decent front three as well. Let's be honest. So, looking at how he played last night, the way he played last night, can United, again, I'm talking about system. I talked about it yesterday as well, with how, not yesterday, I think it was the day before actually, about how Lisandro Martinez plays in a back three, how Bruno Fernandes plays on the left of a middle three for Portugal, Joshua Zirkzee in the middle of a flat three in a 4-3-3 up front for Holland, there is adaptability and there is change there that Manchester United can clearly do with their team. And these players are playing well under it. Surely you just look at that and go, right, okay, when the chips are down and first system's not working, we can actually look at actually implementing something a little bit different. I've found watching the internationals this weekend actually like a breath of fresh air, to be honest. Just watching the players play with freedom. We covered it the other day. Like, international duty is international duty. It's not the Premier League. The intensity is not there. I think we all understand that and know that. But what you've also got to look at is that it breeds confidence. If you come away from an international break having scored a goal, scored on your debut like Zirkzee has, and coming back in this United side, knowing that you're the one striker there, that gives you that little bit of it gives you a bit of oomph, doesn't it? It gives you that little bit of zest just to go in and go, right, let's get in here and smash this. That confidence. And let's not forget, like, Joshua Zirkzee hasn't played many games. He needs minutes in his legs. He's obviously made his first start for United. He's now made his first start for Holland. Hopefully he'll play again in the next game in the Nations League for Holland before we come back. Probably, I think the players are back on Wednesday, Thursday this week. So a few more days before they're back. Again, touch wood that nothing actually happens in terms of injuries and anything like that. But really, we just got to look at it and go, when these players are back, they're in the best condition that they can be. Obviously not overrun, not played too many games, got just enough games under their belts to actually go into this next group of games for United at the prime. This fixture set up now, like the next group of games coming in before, just after international break, the first international break, I feel is the biggest tell. This is when everybody's players are in. This is when you know who is fit, who has had the right pre-season, who has got the best preparation. I feel like this is the biggest moment. And we've talked about how important it is for United, for the players, for the manager, Ten Hag. Well, as a football club right now, after everything that's happened in the summer and everything that's gone down, I mean, all eyes will be on what's coming next. If Luke Shaw and Rasmus Højlund are both fit as well, Manchester United have umpteen options. And it's just like watching Manchester United's players perform the way that they have done on international duty, and then knowing that we can actually mix it up a little bit against Southampton, actually having options, actually gives us a little bit of confidence. These games are not easy for United coming up. I've said it on videos building up this week, that Manchester United's record at Southampton is absolutely shocking when you look at it. I don't know why this is the case. We should be absolutely smashing Southampton off the park. They're in poor form this season. One of the teams that have had a worse start than Manchester United are Palace and Southampton. So you could say these are the perfect two games to come back into, but it's not that way with United. Obviously, they are tough games. They are both fighting for their lives. And I think both looking to, like United, turn their season around from this point. And this is what I keep saying. Like, after the first international break of the season, this is when players are prime. This is when they are ready. Gone away. The pressure of the international break, the pressure of the Premier League has gone. Transfer window gone out the way. 2 weeks away of international players finding their feet again, getting some game time, getting fitness in the legs, sharpening things up. And I think when they come back, this is it. This is going to be the biggest tell for United and probably what the season's going to entail for us. Obviously, we expected Manchester United to have a better start than what we did at the start of the season, but still, looking at how the players have performed well away, getting their fitness ready and everything like that, the first 3 games are always awkward. And I've always said it, and I was moaning about it last week. Like, Ten Hag's start to the season has been the same every season. 2 defeats and a win in them first 3 games before international. It's when we come back. This is where United are actually... Well, usually in the past with Ten Hag's teams, we've actually done all right. We've come back from international duty and we've carried on where we left off. We've usually not carried on where we left off, but actually we've actually sort of hit a mark and moved on a little bit. So we're hoping that this is going to be the case again this time. I think Joshua Zirkzee in his performances has just said, look, I can be an out-and-out number 9. Can we just... And you look at it and you go... I think Bruno Fernandes needs to stand up. Like, by the way, everybody, happy birthday, Bruno Fernandes, 29 today. Have a great day, Bruno. And let's just also say that Bruno Fernandes needs to step up now and help these sorts of players like Joshua Zirkzee. Joshua Zirkzee doesn't need to be dropping too far deep. If Bruno Fernandes is committed in his role and is positionally disciplined, like we said, Zirkzee can play as that number 9, that full-on target man. We just have to utilise him and use him the right way. And I think Koeman sort of jumped on a bit yesterday. Yes, It's Bosnia-Herzegovina, and it's not a massive sort of game. It's not quality opposition. I understand that. But we're talking about Southampton here. We're talking about Manchester United against Southampton. We should be looking at this and trying to play our game rather than looking at what Southampton are going to bring us. We can't be going into this game thinking that this has been a tough game in the past. We need to go into it and smash it and play our game. And I think it'll be a breath of fresh air if we actually did go into it that way. Also looking at Obi Martin as well. Scored yesterday. Really good performance from him as well in the under-18s for Denmark. Another player that's coming to Manchester United. There are umpteen options, and like we said, the ratification of that move from Arsenal to United will be completed this week, according to all reports. So we've got players shining absolutely everywhere right now, and it really does set United up for this next group of games. I feel in a perfect position with everyone that's available. You should have players coming in. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, even if the players are looking at this and going, do you know what? Ten Hag, he may not be the Manchester United manager going further into this season. He might be. Like I said right now, Manchester United, all that matters is getting these wins under our belts. After this international break, Ten Hag turning it around. That's all that's important. I don't care about anything else. It's about the team. It's about United winning games. That's all I care about. That's all any United fan cares about. I've got my opinions on managers and players that I don't like and I think are not right. But that aside, the only thing that counts is United winning. And this team has got it in them to win these games. 100% it's got it in them to win these games. So looking at this, if you're one of the United players going into this next group of games, say for instance, I'm Luke Shaw. I'm like, this is do or die for Luke Shaw right now. It really is. I'm looking at Dalot performing for Portugal. Mazraoui performing for Morocco. Luke Shaw is second choice left back right now. I don't care if he is the one player that Ten Hag has been waiting for. Luke Shaw is going to have to fight his way back into this side. And what I also feel is, like, take Ten Hag out of the picture, it doesn't matter anymore. Not with what INEOS are building behind the scenes at United. What they're doing right now is building that, and I've said this week many a times, they're building that philosophy, they're building that style of play, their expectation level at United. That's what they're trying to build up. And it doesn't matter who's in charge. It's time for the players to start taking responsibility. You're not going to be able to bin off manager after manager after manager anymore. It's not going to matter because it's going to affect your career. Because you're not going to have the numpties that were running the asylum there saying, oh, well, he still holds values. We can't get rid of the players. It's got to be the manager that goes. Well, it doesn't matter anymore. It's time for these players to come back and actually think, actually, my United career is well and truly on the line here. So stand up, play for the manager, and if his system doesn't work, he will go. He'll be gone. But it still doesn't stop you putting in more efforts. Like what Paul Parker said at Marcus Rashford. If your game's not working, you're not fitting into the system, it's not going your way, you make it as difficult as possible for the opposition by working harder. And that's what he's not done. It's like these players all the time, yeah, it may not work on the Ten Hag, and they may not like the system, and it's not their fault. And all the agents will do what they're doing behind the scenes, moaning and fighting their client's corner and everything like that. You still got to work hard. You still got to try and put more in and make something happen. Because if you do put that in, you may just find something within that game that actually clicks. But if you're not willing to do that, then it's done. And I think this is what I said, like, with the likes of Shaw, Maguire, Rashford, Antony, all of these types of players, Casemiro, like, if they don't step up, then this is their last season at Manchester United. I think the way you've got to look at it, and how I look at it right now is, like, if you're going in like this, I'm talking about, and I want to big up like the younger players and everyone playing well over international duty, but look at the players that are not playing on international duty. The Luke Shaws and the Marcus Rashfords of this world. Look at them players and go, if this is not sinking into their bonces right now, heads that is, for slang, then I give up, and I think everybody needs to give up on them. I honestly feel it'd be great if Luke Shaw is fit and he sits on the bench. That's how I look at it. I want him on the bench because I don't want him to just waltz back into this side. And Ten Hag, I think, should look at that and go, still, look at what these other players are doing. These are players that are being brought in by a system that's never been at Manchester United before. These players are actually willing they're willing to fight for Manchester United. It doesn't matter about the manager. That's what they're being brought in for. That's what a football structure does. You've got Jason Wilcox. You've got Dan Ashworth. They'll be talking to them as well as the manager. It's not just Ten Hag or whoever the Manchester United manager is. You're playing for the structure. You're playing for Manchester United. Forget about the manager. Yes, it's important on the day, but you've got to look past that as well and say, look, if I don't perform and I don't like the way this is going, then I still have to give absolutely everything for the shirt. And if you do, then it may just start to work for you. It may just come, but it's down to the players. I just look at it now, and I think that if you're looking at this and this is possibly your last season because you're underperforming, what are you going to do? You're going to sink or you're going to swim? And we will find out the real characters of this team. Look, Marcus Rashford, I feel, with the way that everybody else is performing right now, I said this all along, I hope that Ten Hag doesn't look at Rashford and go, because he's been there and watching him and training with him day in, day out while everyone else has been on international duty. Because this happened with Garnacho a little bit when he came back. It's like Garnacho lost his place, having been a dead cert for Manchester United before the summer came. He went away, did the Copa America, didn't have pre-season. And it's like because he's not had pre-season and he's not played, he doesn't come into the side. And I found it weird, I found it strange. And I hope that's not the case again with other players. Because you look at Marcus Rashford should not be playing for Manchester United in the next game. He shouldn't. We're going to have the same sort of scenario again, where you've got players that are giving everything, that are actually out and being selected for their countries because they're playing well, getting games, and then coming back and then being, well, what's the word I'm looking for? When you come back, having done everything that you possibly can, and then knowing that you're going to be dropped for someone who isn't doing everything, it plays on the mind. And Ten Hag can turn this around easily. He really can. And it comes down to trusting in his squad. I just don't think he trusts everyone in that squad. Otherwise, he would have played certain players in games over others that we all know didn't deserve to be playing. I'm going to get into the comment section instead of give you guys a chance. Please give the video a like, guys. Over 600 in the room for an early morning Sunday show. That is fantastic, especially on international break. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Andrew says, I don't watch the Nations League. We have just finished the Nations Cup, which is the European competition. Don't need or want a new competition. Basically saying you don't like international football after the European Championships. It's too much. And it is. We should not be having this many bleeding international games straight off the back of a European Championship ravaged summer. It is too much for the players. It really is. And I agree with Andy. It is painful to watch. So you just watch out for United players. The young ones are the ones that you watch right now because they're the ones that are chomping at the bits. And United can, if they can grab that energy that's come from the international break and take that into these next group of games, because they are massive. And like talking to journalists yesterday about these games coming up, I don't want to go into like the negatives of what people are saying, but obviously you know what I'm going to say. So it's like it's a sink or swim situation right now at United in this next 7 games. It is going to determine a lot going in because, as well as it may seem like it's only just started the season, it's still early. This will be officially 10 games into the season and going into October. And they always say, don't they, you always judge the table around October. You know where the players are. You know, like the movers and the shakers are. It's like October time. That's when you start judging how things are going and what you can expect going into a season. So it is big. It is still early in the season when you look at it and you break everything down. But the way that it was being talked about yesterday, even by Manchester United staff yesterday around Old Trafford, it was like, yeah, we know what's coming. We know how important this is. By the way, speaking to someone who I actually knew yesterday regarding what INEOS have done and how the whole change-up has gone, first time I'd actually seen this member of staff at United for a while. And I just asked the question. I said, how has it been with changing things over? A nightmare was the word that was used. INEOS have been absolutely brutal to a different level, like brutal. Like you just don't know who is coming, who is going. The staff at United are still finding out about people they know and have worked with for a while. And if they've left, there's people that I know that I worked with not too long ago or spoke to long ago regarding the Manchester United tour that have now gone. like they have been absolutely brutal behind the scenes. So if anybody thinks that INEOS have just come in and are just basically skirting along the edges of issues at United, it goes deeper than what we all thought it was. They have kicked ass. That's all I'll say on that one. Just wanted to let everybody know about that, because there has been this sort of going around here like it's just the same. Nothing has changed at United. INEOS are just glazer puppets, basically. No, definitely not. The whole setup, we was in and around that new tunnel area where the players walk through and everything yesterday in the mixed zone. There are big changes and more big changes coming to Manchester United. Just the talk and everything going around with the staff in and out of United. There's a lot coming. And I think we just need to brace ourselves for a completely new era at United right now, because that is what it's going to be. And I'm excited and obviously sceptical at the same time. I think that we all want change and we all want things to be different. But sometimes it means sacrificing what we've actually loved and been there before. But look, at the end of the day, all we want is for things to change on the pitch. And INEOS are looking to build a football club off the pitch that is going to make things better for the manager and the players on it, and hopefully inspire. And you only have to look at some of the legends that were on that pitch today in that game, and if that's not inspiring enough, then God, yeah, it was great talking to a lot of the players. Raymond van der Gouw and Ronnie Johnson, absolute legends, spoke really well. Nicky Butt, obviously, you've all seen that interview we did yesterday, and Nicky was just brutally honest. He says, like, even off camera, like, you can hear them and they're talking there, and it's like, yeah, we're going for a drink now. And it's like the communication and the conversations do go on with some of the United players and some of the old greats at the football club about what it's like at United right now. And Nicky was just brutally honest with what he said. Like, it's just not what we expect. You cannot expect that. And some of these players and some of these young players, and he made a point about talking about the players, like, they're going to need to realise where they're actually playing. That's the biggest thing with any player coming in. And he made a point of that. Like, you need to understand what it's like playing for Manchester United compared to everybody else. Now, we all know this from the outside, but you can tell, and you could see it in Nicky's eyes yesterday when he's talking about it. He runs deep. He understands what it is to be a Manchester United player. And he understands the sacrifices and the pressure that comes with it. And he said you figure it out within a few months. Within a few months, it's actually there, and you know what it's like. And we're getting into this sort of territory now, like we'll be building up to like October and November into this season, and these players will start to realise, because all of the excitement of new players coming in and letting these players bed in and all of that jazz, that just goes out of the way. And he's right in what he says, like, when you get into like the November, December time, when all anyone really cares about is this team actually performing on the pitch, all of that sort of honeymoon period is gone. And that, he said, is when you start to realise what these players are made of. And if they have got it and got what it takes to be a Manchester United player, that is the time. And I think that is crucial. And he's right in what he says, because that will be pretty much us knowing exactly where we are in the Europa League and if we're qualifying, if we're in the Carabao Cup still, and where we are at in the league. November, December time is crucial for everyone. And he's not just talking about the manager. He's talking about all of the players, because it's on them as well. And like I said at the top of the show, it is going to be a few of these players last season at United, or they're not going to make it at United. This is what INEOS are. Cutthroat, brutal. Why the younger players are coming in, so they can make these players and mould these players into United players. And that's just a way to do it. Like, create the United player rather than bringing in the ready-made who you think might be good enough for United. They have to understand from top to bottom coming through what it is like and what it takes to be a United player. And that's sort of the message that's coming across. I heard the commentators saying that Ireland has never beaten England in Dublin. That's a lie. 1916 springs to mind. I honestly don't care. I'm not saying that against Ireland. It's a game I really wasn't bothered about. Like, England just do not inspire me at all. I think they're one of the most boring teams to watch on the planet. And that's my own country. The talent that we've got, it is embarrassing. It really is. I'm looking at the score yesterday, coming out of Old Trafford and going 2-0. This is more like it. Maybe the cards of the era will be different. No. You got the rest of the bleeding game not scored. Honestly, for the amount of possession we had, I don't like watching England. I really don't. And this whole employing from within, it's never going to change. It's never going to change. Bruno seems older because he's crap. He had his peak. Blink and you've missed it. Don't get what people think he is. For F's sake, not good enough is what he is. No, disagree with that completely. Bruno has always been good enough, and he's one of United's best players. I won't have anyone say anything different, and that not in a disrespectful way like that. Anyway, come on, he isn't the worst player at Manchester United. We all know this. I think people have got their own agendas. I understand it, look, but you cannot say he is. He's not good enough. He is good enough. He just does these games. Like Bruno will have a spell this season when everyone will be like, yeah, that's why he's still here at Manchester United. Adam, do you think Rashford has a clause in his contract if fit plays? You've got to ask the question, Claire. Honestly, a few people have been talking about it. Well, actually, there's people been talking about it for a while. Like, you have to ask the question, like, why does he keep playing? It is weird. It's a strange one, isn't it? Rashford does need to be benched. Yep, agreed. United is trash because of bad management, poor coaching, and entitled, obnoxious, know-it-all fan base. Really? That's a bit harsh. Do we know everything? No, we're just talking about United underperforming, so how do we know everything? Kind of a weird opinion, that one, buddy. Director of Football, new regime should contact Van Gaal. He would be absolutely ideal and deserves to finish what he started. If United are serious about changing the entire style at the club, he was the best since Sir Alex Ferguson. Europa League will be a hindrance for us for the league form. We need a season out of Europe for a good campaign. I think we need to concentrate on the Europa League more than anything, mate. Sorry, Adam, don't agree on Bruno. He's awful. No, he's not awful. God, you can't say he's awful. You know he's not awful. You may have an opinion that he's not like your type of player, but he's not awful. Welsh Red says, Adam, when are you getting Jay back on the channel? Always like to hear his voice. It's coming soon, guys. It's coming very soon. Stay tuned. We are going to be opening up the panel show as well when the season kickstarts again. We played world class for 60 mins. Also, the planet mocks Bruno, pal. He is so bad. He's not. How anyone thinks he's so bad, honestly. Like, he would go into any other team in the Premier League. Honestly, he would. Perhaps Onana has the same clause like Rashford too. Yes, I understand all of that. Look, we're going to go into more detail on that later on in the evening show. I'm going to make it fully interactive. I am going to wrap up the show this morning because it's kids' football time. Really looking forward to actually getting out watching some real football. So I am going to leave it there, everyone. I really appreciate you joining us this morning. We have got a lot to get through later on. So back at 6:30 for the evening show. And then we'll go through everything, fully interactive show. I will be doing another video that's dropping out around about lunchtime today as well, guys, from yesterday. So stay tuned for that one as well. But for now, mods, members, anyone in the chat, thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'm Adam. This is Forever United TV. I will see you all later. Have a fantastic Sunday, everybody.